All right, what's good, YouTube? So let's see, should you see me good? All right, so today what we got going on, we're actually gonna make a collab. So on the last beat that or the last video that I showed you guys, I showed you how to finish a collab, and I mentioned that I was gonna show you guys how to make a collab. So that's what we're here to do. So I'm gonna start from scratch, start from the beginning, so you'll get to see me make some beats or see how I make beats and whatnot, how I make some melodies. So basically, the first thing that first couple of things that you want to kind of know when making a collab is you want to give enough, but not too much, right? So you want to give enough that it's your sound, and the other producer can, has enough to be able to work with. So you don't want to send just like one melody. You don't want to send like just a clap and hi hats or something like that. You want to send them something that makes sense. But like I said, you want to send them enough, but not too much. So you want to send them enough that they can work with, but not too much to where it's just like, well, this is already a finished beat. So I've had plenty of situations where I've had artists send me beats saying that they wanted to collab, and they send me the beat or the FLP or the file or whatever, and it's a full FL file that's already been laid out and everything. Like it's done. Like there's not much that I could do. I would have to delete stuff to be able to add stuff to it. So I don't like collabs like that, and I don't suggest you send things like that. Another caveat that goes along with um, not sending too much is you don't want to just you don't want to spill your guts. That's the best way I can explain it. You don't want to spill all your guts on the table. You know what I mean? You don't want to give up everything. Like you don't want to send a collab and have all your presets, how you mix everything, how your exclusive sounds that make you who you are. Maybe your exclusive sounds that you pick from VSTs or your exclusive clap, hi hat, or whatever it is. You don't want to give too much, but like I said, you want to give enough. Another thing to go along with that is typically I've noticed if you're one of those producers that gives too much, like you give a whole lot of stuff, you give them basically a whole beat and everything set up. It being another skilled producer, you can take that FLP and you can kind of really dissect what this producer does. Now you may not know how they do everything, but you can really look at it and tell. So like for example, if Digital Nas or Mexico Dro or Stupid Cool or anybody sent me a FLP and maybe sent me like two or three, and it was a full beat like from start to finish, and then I saw them like how they laid it out or something like that. It would be pretty easy for me to kind of see, okay, this is how they kind of make their melodies. This is what the melodies kind of consist of. These are the sounds they kind of use. I'd be able to kind of piece it together to make you a better version of that sound. So let's say before they sent me this FLP, I made a digital Nas type beat. And let's say on a scale of 1 to 10 on how close it sounds to hit sounding like digital Nas, let's just say it's a 6, right? So after I get an FLP or two or three of them from him and see how he does stuff and lays it out just from him sending the FLP, not him explaining it, not being in person or anything like that, just seeing it, I would definitely suggest I would be confident in saying that I could bump that 6 or 7 version of my beat up to like an 8, 7 or 8. It'll never be like a full blown 10 because I'm not Digital Nas. I'm not gonna be able to make one that sounds exactly the way Digital Nas would make his beat. Well, let me rephrase that. So it could sound exactly like Digital Nas, but it's still not going to sound exactly like Digital Nas because Digital Nas didn't make it. You see what I mean? So somebody can make an exact copy or replica of a me type beat, of a Milan Mix beat style beat, but because they're not Milan Mix beats, it's still going to sound off. It could be perfectly perfect to other listeners, but me being Milan Makes Beats, I would be able to tell, yeah, that's not a Milan Makes Beats beat. It sounds really similar, it's really close, it sounds just like me, but it's not me, so it's not a Milan Makes Beat type beat, if that makes sense. So just be cautious. Don't send too little and don't send too much, right? You want to send them enough that they're just is like a good in between, a good medium. You want to send enough to where they have enough to work with and enough for them to kind of get the general consensus and idea of how you sound. So we're basically going to go ahead and hop into it from here. So generally, the rule of thumb of what I typically do is I'll explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Let's go with expand. Click attach, and then since I'm doing this type of style, we'll do it this one. Actually, Yeah, we can use that one. That's fine. So typically, what I do is when I'm making these beats for collabs, what I typically do is I have a very simple setup, super easy. I have a background melody, I have a main melody, I have a clap, I'll add a hi hat, and then sometimes I may add an 808 pattern. So it's just five things, five elements, right? So basically, how I set it up is let's just start with something pretty simple, generic, and easy. All right, so we're just gonna start with just something simple, nothing crazy. Mhm. All right, so that's gonna be my little simple background melody, nothing crazy. Then we're gonna add something like just a regular melody. Right now, I'm just using sounds that I'm used to using, and I know how to make something really quick and easy with them, and sounds that I know will go well together. Actually, one other thing that I meant to mention, I probably should change this one. The reason being is another thing that you want to think about when you're doing a collab is always ask the producer receiving the collab what VSTs they have. So most people don't have expand. A lot of people don't have this one. So I might would have to ask the producer first, do you have expand? If I don't ask them or something like that, and are they not willing to tell me, I've had that happen before where I ask, what VSTs you have, and they think like the producer thinks I'm being weird or something, like trying to figure out how their sauce or whatever. But really, I'm trying to make sure whatever I send them, they can open it up easily. But I don't know. It's just like I've said before. A lot of people in the music industry be on weirdo time. I don't know what it is. But we'll keep this for now. But just always make sure that's something that you do. That whoever is receiving the collab, ask them what VSTs do you have, which ones do you use, or whatever, and that way you know what to use. So if you ask them what do they have, they may give you a long list of everything that they have. Then you kind of can pick which ones you want to send them. If you say which ones do you use, they may tell you, oh, I use Nexus, Purity, Expand, and Omnisphere. That's all I got. That's all I use. So then you'll know, all right, let me just find something in all of these to be able to make something for this person so that they can open it up easily. So for example, if I were to send this to you and you don't have expand, it's not gonna play the sound. It's not gonna work. You'd have to replace it. Now, the downside to that is when you do things like replacing sounds and things like that, you could be throwing off the whole vibe of the whole entire beat. So let's say you heard this, right? But then well, that let's say I made that, but then let's just say for instance it didn't work for you, so you had to use something that was along the lines of we'll go down to this one. Let's say along the lines of something like that. I don't know what that is. And this now it sounds totally different. See, that sounds like a totally different start of the beat. You know what I mean? So just be aware of that. So like if you're changing sounds and whatnot, just make sure you kind of have an idea of what it sounded like beforehand, possibly if that's a possibility. Where's that sound that I had? I forgot what it was called. Or just or just ask that person, hey, what sounds do you use? What VSTs are you currently using? Dang, I cannot remember what I had. Oh yeah, there we go. So let's keep it moving. So always ask what VSTs they're using, so that way you know that you can send them something that they can actually utilize. Yeah, I don't want it like that. Let's just say it's just a simple melody like that, nothing crazy. I hear another sound like right here. Let me make this go up an octave because I can't exactly hear what it sounds like. See, like that one, this key is off. All right, so now we've got, let's label stuff. If you ever see me type in BG, that just stands for background. And then name. I always just name this one melody. Sometimes I'll use background melody, art for arpeggiator, and pad or what's the other one? Lead, synth, or something like that. But then sometimes I'll just name them uh, bell, pluck. Like I try to make the names pretty generic and easy rather than having them as the VST name. So that way when I'm seeing it and I can quickly decipher which one's which and kind of what I'm using it for or what my intent was when I made the beat. So that's just like a little tidbit of info that may help you out. Let's just throw a regular little simple 808 on there because again, this is something that you don't. You just want to do something simple, right? You just want to make something that is palatable for the next person that you're sending, or the person that you're sending this to, for that producer. So we're just gonna throw that in there. Can you guys hear it, like how it's coming together? So imagine if I sent you a collab and it was just this. That means I'd have to add three, at least three more melodies, four or five, six more instruments. That's pretty much not even a collab. This is just me finishing the beat. So that's why I say give them enough. That's why you want to give them pretty much a little bit, but enough. But you want to give them a little bit of everything. So that's why I say give them a couple melodies. Two melodies is usually what I do. Two melodies, they should be able to easily pick up a vibe and kind of see what you're going for in the beat. Then I add a hi-hat pattern. Sometimes I cut up the pattern and actually do something. But lots of times I just throw something in there so they can hear it. That's it. Like just something simple. I probably just usually send melodies like this because I like to leave a lot for the person that's receiving the FLP to kind of give their interpretation. So like if I wanted to do something a little bit different to kind of point them in the direction of how the vibe I'm going, I might do something like a simple pattern like this. See, something like that. Like I won't do nothing crazy, just enough for them to kind of get something started. And then as far as the 808s go, same deal. I give them something very simple, something lightweight, basically. Something that is not, it could be the main 808 or what it ends up being, but it could also just be totally deleted or something that the other producer may tweak. So I'll do something like really simple. Also, one other thing with your 808s, just make sure you always cut them so they don't run into each other. So like I said, I always give them something really simple with the 808. So you can do something as simple as this, like basic 808 pattern. There's nothing special about it. And that leaves the other producer to be able to listen to it and be like, okay, I see what they was going for. They want like a chill, kind of slow 808 vibe, like something that you can kind of really hear what the rapper's saying. So like a beat like this, I would want to send this to somebody that is like, they're not super lyrical, like on some like, can't even think Kendrick Lamar type of deal or something like that, but just somebody that you're going to want to hear their voice more and get like more of what they're vocalizing. So you don't want to hear that fast paced mumble rap type of rapping, like where they're not really saying nothing, like with a whole bunch of yeah, what, ooh, what, like all that stuff. Maybe you might send this to an artist that you know is going to spit some bars. You know what I mean? So if I were you, I would send something like this. Now, if you can always send them something like more elaborate. Like I'm not saying don't like just hold all what you got back. Like I'm not saying that. You can absolutely send a producer like a fire 808 pattern, something that is elaborate and elite and something crazy, right? Like if you want your best type of collabs, but if you're doing something simple and you just want to collab with somebody and you want to mesh the two sounds together, but you don't want to overpower it with your particular sound, but just enough. This is how you need to set it up. Something simple, just like this. If when people send me FOPs and send me collabs and it's structured like this and it's exactly like this, oh, I'm happy. Like I don't want it laid out. I don't like when it's split up and they got like one pattern here, one pattern there. You know what I mean? I don't like that. I want it all right here. So when I can come into this this template, I just okay, I can hear it. All right, I see what they were going for. But it gives you just enough, like just enough to kind of get started, right? And always tell the producer that's receiving it, just let them know, like, yo, bro, you know, I sent you some stuff. I sent you a collab, whatever you want to change, go ahead and feel free to change. I just gave you something basic to like get something to work with. Just so, I mean, if there's a melody and something, my melody is off key, or you want to change the hi-hat, or you want to change the hi-hat pattern, or you want to change the type of 808 I use, or switch up the pattern a little bit, that's cool because you've given them enough. Like I was saying, you've given them enough to get your sound and kind of mesh the two sounds, but you haven't given them too little to where it's like, well, I just got to build this whole beat. You know what I mean? So you just want to give enough, whatever you feel comfortable with. So typically, most of my collabs are something like this, something similar to this. Of course, I put a little bit more time into making my melodies, the hi-hats, the clap. I may switch up the sound or something like that, or change up the 808. You know what I mean? Like, or do a more elaborate pattern. It's not dead set simplistic like this. Part of the reason why this one is so simple, like literally like 2 minutes done and done simple, is also to show the beginning producers kind of how to make stuff, how it all formulates and how it works. So don't let this be like, okay, you know, I'm a top tier producer up here. I'm gonna give all my collabs this tier type of quality beats. Don't do that. Keep your stuff at whatever quality and range that you're normally used to working at, but just give them something simple to work with. So if you're more of an elaborate producer and you go in there and you messing with velocities and the panning on your hi hats, and you'll go in there and tweak every little thing. You add a little reverb and delay to your hi hats too to make it sound a certain way. Like you can do that if you want to, but I highly suggest that you don't. Not because you're worried about somebody taking your style or your sauce, but simply because you want to keep it very simple and very easy. Because if you're giving a person too much, it's like giving a baby a steak. Like technically, the baby could eat the steak, like they give it nutrients, the baby will be fed and whatever. But a baby can't handle eating steak. You know what I mean? Like you have to give somebody what they can handle. So if you're giving a producer something like a collab and you're sitting in the FOP, you want to give them something they can handle. You don't want to give them something where as soon as they open it up, 100 different VSTs pop up. Like, okay, you got 5 VSTs on your 808, you got 6 on your melodies, and you got stuff on your hi-hats, and now they got to sift through and decipher, okay, what's going on here? Okay, I see a reverb VST pop up, but I don't hear nothing with reverb. None of the melodies got reverb. Oh, it's on his hi-hats. He puts a reverb on his hi-hats. You want to make it as simple as possible so that it's plain Jane and the person that's finishing it can add more of their sauce, right? So that's where I say when you do send a collab, if you're the one sending it, this is the proper setup because you're giving more of what's creating the initial sound, right? Versus the person that's receiving it and finishing it, they're kind of fine tuning and combing out the extra little kinks of that sound while sprinkling a little bit of theirs in it. So you as the producer sending it is going to do more of the building of the beat, while as the producer that's receiving it is going to do more of the what's the best way to put it? More of the arrangement of the beat and the completion of the beat. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like you're the starter, and you got to give that person a great start, and then to make it easy for them to finish. You see what I mean? It's hard to start something when you've done barely any work. Like if you were doing a group project, and the group project is to write a 10-page paper, and there's two of us. That means 5 pages for me, 5 pages for you. And then if you're the person that says, "Hey, I'm going to start this paper off," and you only type of paragraph and then send it to me and tell me to finish the rest. That's not a good start. That's going to be hard for me to finish. You may want to do 3 pages, 2 or 3 pages, send it to me and be like, okay, got, all right, got, I see where you're going with this. I do 2 or 3 pages, and then we come together and finish the last 4 pages or so, or however it works out. It's a little bit different in my example versus when you're producing, but you get the idea. You definitely want to give the producer something that they can work with that's palatable and easy to kind of work with. So try to mitigate, minimize your VSTs. Now, if you want to go ahead and mix your melody, make it, put a simple mix on it, same thing with your 808s or whatever, that's fine. But what I'm saying is just don't go too crazy to where now the producer has to sort and sift through stuff and figure out what he's looking at and what he's doing. Because let's say I send you one of my FLPs and it's just way too advanced as far as what's going on in it for you to even understand, like how do I even collab on this? Like he's got 10 VSTs that popped up in 3 sounds. Like what's going on here? You know what I mean? You don't want to give a person too much more than what they can chew. That's the baby example of giving the baby the steak. Baby can eat food, but steak is not a palatable food for a baby, right? So you just want to make sure that you give them a good selection of melodies, a couple of instruments here and there, so they can see how it go, how you're kind of going and vibing with the beat. Throw them a little 808 pattern in there, so they also know how what you're kind of pushing towards. And then that's really about it. Let them do their own thing and finish it. You guys talk back and forth. Say, hey, I really like this melody. Keep that in there. Don't mess that up. Or hey, you're free to switch and change whatever the case is. You guys work it out, talk it out, figure it out, and come together and make something fire. So that's really about it. That all I got for you guys today. Can't really think of anything else to kind of put in here, but this is exactly how I would send it. So one other thing, if you guys don't know how to send an FLP, because I notice a lot of people don't, what you would do is you would click File and you would click Export, right? You have to have the full version of FL Studio or you can't do this. Then you would send the project as a zipped loop package. So what's that going to do is literally put this whole file into a zip folder. And when you send it to me, I'll receive it. I unzip the zip folder and it'll literally pop up as an icon in there like this would, just like that, the literal FL icon. And then you just click on it and it's going to open up, and then it's going to have inside of that zip loop folder these sounds, right? So normally if you were to send me a FLP and I did not have literally the capsule hat parentheses 3 parentheses, I could have this exact same hi-hat but not have it named the same. It's not going to recognize that this is it, that those 2 sounds are the same. I could call it hi-hat 3 and on the collab says capsule hi-hat 3. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to connect and be like, okay, this is the same sound. So that's why you want to do zipped looped projects. That way, if I don't have the 808, if I don't have that clap, if I don't have that hi-hat or whatever other instrument you add, it attaches it inside of there, and now I do have it. So you are giving that person that sound, by the way. So if I didn't have an 808 beforehand and you used it in here and you send me a zip loop package, I now have that 808. So that's also a good thing to always remember. That makes it a lot easier for collabs, in my opinion. So just make sure you always do a zip loop folder if you're using FL Studio. If you're not, then whatever else project you're doing, I can't help you there. I don't know anything else. So again, it's File, Export, down to zip loop package, and then it's going to pop up on like your desktop or something like that. So that's all I got for you guys, man. Follow me on all my social medias. It's Milan Makes Beats. If I got it, you'll find me. If I don't, you won't. So, just check me out. Like, comment, subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up, even a thumbs down if you don't like it. Just interact with what's going on so I can kind of keep my algorithm going and keep these videos coming and have a lot of people check out the some tips and learn some stuff. And again, always drop comments in the comment section and tell me what you think about the what I've done, what I'm making, or anything like that. Or if you have any criticisms or anything like that, go ahead and drop those in the comment section as well. And just let me know what you guys think, what I could improve on, what things I can add to this, what changes I could make, and what videos you guys want to come want me to make and see in the future. So that's all I got for you guys today. Just check me out on all my social media, Milan Makes Beats, and that's about it. So this is how you make a collab for another producer. So that's about it, man. You guys have a good one, and next week we'll have another one, man. Have a good one.